Blog Talk Radio.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Women of Golf. I'm your host, Ted Odorico, and normally joining right alongside first thing with me, of course, none other than Legends Tour player and LPGA professional Cindy Miller, but she's going to be a little bit delayed this morning. She had a previous engagement this morning, and we'll wait and bring her on in a little bit. But got a great show for you today. Going to be joined first up by Symetra Tour Ali McDonald. She's going to be joining us here in just a few moments, and then a little bit later in the show, we're going to be joined by one of the most respected teaching professionals and coaches in the business, LPGA professional, and also a member of the PGA of America, Nancy Quarcelino. She'll be joining in about half an hour's time. We're going to continue on, of course, with Cindy's Own Your Game series, and we're going to be talking about the emotional game today a little bit. And as I said, hopefully Cindy will be able to join us here shortly. She's on her way back from an appointment, but we'll wait for her to sort of begin that. But anyways, as I said, we got a great show. For those of you just tuning in for the first time, best way to find us, of course, is go to blogtalkradio.com, and up in the search key, you can type in Women of Golf, and that will take you to the main page. And of course, if you just scroll down the page, you will see the live broadcast on Tuesday mornings, and we air from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for those of you on the East Coast. And if for some reason you're not able to join us during the live broadcast, not to worry. All of the programs, of course, are auto-recorded, so you can just go to that main page, blogtalkradio.com/Women of Golf, and just scroll down until you see the on-demand section and listen at your convenience to the previously aired broadcast. But as I said, we got a great show for you today. If you're interested in calling in anytime during the broadcast, during our live Tuesday morning shows, we would all love to hear from you. You can do so by calling us at area code 347-945-5855. And if you want, you can also email us at womenofgolf@gmail.com. And I see Cindy's here, so we just bring her on. Good morning, Cindy.
Good morning. How are you?
Not too bad. I actually quicker than I thought you were going to. So welcome to the show. And, of course, my partner and co-host on the show, Cindy Miller, LPGA professional and Legends Tour player. And, Cindy, welcome and good morning.
Well, good morning, Ted.
That was actually perfect timing because I was just sort of finishing things up. Let me just very quickly one other thing I want to mention. If you're in the golf industry or you're somebody that would like to come on the show, if you've got something you feel that you'd be interested in sharing with our audience, you can do so by reaching out to Cindy at cindymillergolf.com, or you can also reach out to me at ted.golftalklive@gmail.com. Cindy, we're going to carry on, of course, with the Own Your Game series. We're just waiting for Ali McDonald, who is our special guest from the Symetra Tour this morning, going to be joining us here shortly. But we'll talk about the emotional game today, correct?
Correct. We are.
And we're gonna talk about all the things. And when Ali, as I said, comes on, we're going to get her involved in the conversation as well. But Ali, as you may have known, Cindy, I don't know if you had a chance to watch any of the tournament this weekend. I'm talking about, of course, the Chico's Patty Berg Memorial. But Ali, of course, was a competitor there. And there's some great photos of her with, of course, none other than Nancy Lopez, one of the legends of the game. So we're going to talk to her a little bit about that as well. And she's actually ready. I see she's just come on board. So let me just very quickly, Cindy, do a quick introduction, and then we'll bring Ali to join us. Of course, I said our first guest this morning, of course, is Symetra Tour player McDonald. She was the 2015 runner-up finish at the Murphy USA Dorado Shootout. Also, she was the 2015 Michigan Women's Open champion. 2014, she was a Curtis Cup member, and in 2013, she was the North-South Amateur Champion, and 5 wins in the collegiate competition, 2-time first-team All-American, 1-time second-team All-American, and 3-time first-team All-SEC. She's also a U.S. Junior Girls semifinalist back in 2010. So, Cindy, let's welcome our special guest this morning, Allie McDonald.
Good morning, Allie.
Good morning. How are y'all?
We're
doing
good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Looking forward to this beautiful morning in Sarasota.
Yeah, you're in Sarasota, but Allie, I've obviously had to pick up on that southern drawl. You're a southern girl, correct?
Yes, I'm from Mississippi.
That's what I was reading through some of the notes earlier, and so you're in Sarasota now. But let's just very quickly, I want to ask you. You competed in this past weekend's Chico's Patty Memorial. How was that?
It was amazing. I guess the Legends Tour, they started on that Saturday, so I had the amazing opportunity to play with Nancy Lopez, and the last day I played with Barb Mucha. So it was a great experience and an awesome event that Symetra Tour partners with the Legends Tour. So it was definitely a memorable experience on the golf course.
We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few moments, but Allie, what we want to do is, and you're on, of course, with myself. I'm Ted Odorico, and our other host, of course, is LPGA professional Cindy Miller, who is also here with us. But we're going to talk about, we've been running a series. Cindy's been bringing a series to the program called Own Your Game, and this week we're going to talk about the emotional game. So we just have a few questions that we will ask you just to get your perspective on your emotional game. So Cindy, why don't you start us off this morning?
Well, Allie, tell me, where did you go to college? I didn't get a chance to read the whole bio.
Okay, I went to Mississippi State in Starkville, Mississippi.
Nice. An SEC girl.
Yes.
Let me ask you a question. How do you recover from a bad shot or a bad hole when you're out playing?
Well, I guess it kind of changes. To the time, you only focus on what's going on at that present moment. So after I hit a bad shot, you still have to hit another shot after that. So most of the time, whenever that occurs, I try to put it behind me and notice that, I still have time to recover from that. So the next shot, I'm really just focusing on trying not to make the same mistake and just focusing on the task at hand and putting it behind me.
What do you find is your strengths? What are your strengths? What are the strengths of your game?
I would actually say mentally, just being able to recover. As last week I played 3 really good rounds of golf, and I was in contention there on that last day, and it got windy, and I faltered. And, I think it just goes to speak for this week, putting that tournament behind me and focusing on the good of what I did the first 3 days and moving on and hopefully bringing those 3 days of good golf into this event and hopefully performing well here.
How hard is it because I saw the scores. I'm a member of the Legends Tour as well, and I'm going to be playing in a tournament in Greenwood, South Carolina in a few weeks.
Okay.
Wherever you guys are going to be as well. I guess Nancy Lopez and Cindy Rarick are going to have a Legends Tour shootout one day, so I get to come down, so hopefully I'll get to meet you. But I have trouble in the wind. It's like you need to not fight it. You need to surrender and let it win. But
right.
Do you have trouble playing in the wind?
I do, and I feel like me as a person, I'm such a thinker. I love a strategic golf course. I think that's when it plays to my advantage. When I get to a golf course, it's really difficult because I can outthink some players. But I think the wind, if there's something that I struggle with, it's in the wind, maybe overthinking and trying to fight the wind instead of just letting the golf ball go where it's going to go. And as you know, in the wind, if you hit a shot that rides it, it will just immediately escalate. So if you hit a draw with a right to left wind, it just makes the shot even worse. So as I continue to grow, that will be something that I work on in the wind, just not overthinking everything and letting the golf ball do what it's going to do and just playing for that wind.
It's almost like you have to surrender.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is hard to do
Alan,
now. Barb, I got to ask a question because Barb Mucha is such a good player. Did you watch anything that she did that, she's an example of care what anybody thinks about your swing, because if you saw her swing on a driving range and you had to do a lineup of 10 people swinging, excuse me, wow, and you had to pick someone who was on the tour, there's no way you would pick her that she'd played on the tour that long. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, it's fundamentally probably so, but, I mean, it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how you swing it. If you get around the golf course, then it doesn't matter. And, I mean, Sunday when we played, she played a great round with that wind, a 73, and those conditions were actually really great. So it's just as you said, swing doesn't really matter. It's how you can get the ball around the golf course.
Absolutely, absolutely. I admire her so much, it's not funny.
Yeah. It was a pleasure playing with her for sure.
Let me ask a question just on the sort of backstep, if you will, of wind a little bit. As you know, a couple of weeks ago in the Masters tournament, a lot of the players were faced with some windy conditions, which is not normal at Augusta National, but they had to adapt. How good are you when it comes to adapting to change on the course when it's needed? Are you able to adapt very quickly?
I would say most of the time, yes. I'm a big competitor, so normally whenever things are thrown my way, I say, okay, well, let's do it anyway. So I think there are times, though, in certain situations where it's more difficult to adapt. On a Sunday in contention, you kind of have to be there a few times as a professional. This being my rookie year, you have to figure out how to adapt, and I don't think I did that well Sunday, but that's normally a strength of mine, but as I grow as a player and everything else, that's where I'm probably going to have to get a little bit more experience under my belt and realize that in windy conditions, in more difficult situations, to just adapt and say get over it, and everybody else is dealing with the same stuff right now, so that's definitely normally a strength.
I think just one more. Go ahead. Go ahead, Cindy.
Go ahead, Todd. Go ahead. I was going to change the subject.
What we're going to just ask, just sort of, I guess, to follow up to that. What do you do, Allie, in a situation where your physical game sort of goes, no pun intended, but goes south? How do you recover mentally from that and being able to stay and group and stay focused again? Obviously, if your game suddenly starts experiencing problems, that's going to affect you mentally on the golf course. How do you recover from that and then regroup and refocus?
Yeah, so, I mean, after years of playing golf, I feel like fundamentally my game is the best. Obviously, as I've grown, I've gotten a little bit more mechanically sound in every aspect. But I think in situations where physically your swing may be a little off, you feel like you've lost a little bit of touch, you have to just say, well, I mean, I've been doing this for years. And for me, I have to let my athleticism take over and just say, you know what, I may not hit it perfect every time, but, I mean, I'm still out here grinding, and I think you just have to kind of grit your teeth and say, okay, well, things aren't, perfect right now, but I still have to get the ball in the hole and as few times as possible. So in those situations, those days, you just kind of have to grind it out and say, well, I may not be making birdies left and right, but I'm going to work for my pars and hopefully take advantage of a birdie when I get it.
Well said. Great answer.
What is the most exciting accomplishment that you're the most proud of in your career thus far?
Thus far, I would probably have to go back to the Curtis Cup. Back, that was in the summer of 2014, so just being a part of that team. I mean, there's so many special players. Emma Talley, she's had a great collegiate career and, soon to be turning pro, I'm sure. Allison Lee, who we've seen be very successful so far on the LPGA. Ashlyn Ramsey's out there. Annie Park is out on the LPGA right now. It was just an awesome team to be a part of, and that week was so special in St. Louis. All the support that we had. It was just a great week all in all. I played some good golf, and that really helps things to be put in that situation with a lot of pressure representing the United States. It was just something really special.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you like to rise to the challenge? Are you a fighter or are you a strategic planner?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I'm a little bit of both. I think it just depends on the day. Like I said, I'm a big competitor. So if you said, okay, well, today we're going to try to throw a ball in the bucket and see who wins. I mean, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to try to be the person that gets the ball in the bucket as many times as I can. So, I mean, on a certain day, if I've got to fight, I'm going to fight. But if there's a day where I need to kind of sit back and be more strategic and it's a little tougher today, I'm going to be that person. So I think you have to, like we were talking about, adapting. I mean, there are some days where, you're going to have to be more strategic, and then there's some days where you're going to have to grit your teeth and you're just going to have to fight.
What is the toughest lesson that this game has taught you thus far?
I think it's just that, this last week we saw Jason Day shoot a 79, and he's the number one golfer in the world. So I think the hardest lesson for me is just, there are going to be days where I play bad, and I think it's just about, forgetting and moving on to the next day because as a professional, this is a lot different than collegiate golf or junior golf where you play a tournament or two every month or one tournament every 2 months or something. But, professional golf, you're playing week to week. You don't have time to sit on what happened last week. You got to say, okay, well, that's over. Let's move on to the next one. So as I'm growing and as a professional, that's a part that is a tough lesson to have, especially as my third tournament on the Symetra Tour last week. That's not a lesson that I wanted to learn, shooting a 79 on the last day, but it's definitely something that will help me grow.
Good for you.
Allie, let me ask you a question that I think, we've asked many times before on the show. Do you have a fitness regime? How do you rate yourself physically as far as are you somebody that really is very regimented in a routine to keep yourself active on the golf course? Because obviously playing the schedule that you play, you have to have quite a bit of stamina out there. You're not just playing once a month. You're playing several times a month. What do you do to keep yourself fit? Do you have a fitness regime, if you will? And what other things do you do to keep your stamina up on the golf course?
Yeah, so I actually am not a big weightlifter or someone who works out week to week. I like to do that in the off season. So while I'm on the road, I do something that's called a GOSCU. It's a posture therapy that my swing coach got me into. I do several exercises every morning that basically make sure that my body stays functional and everything stays aligned, and that, targeted muscle groups that, might be giving me a little bit of pain. I can build a menu specifically for that that helps target that area so that maybe I can stretch it out a little more or strengthen it just a little bit. But I don't do anything that's super difficult on the road. But a GOSCU is definitely what I turn to for the fitness aspect because I feel like stretching is probably one of the most important things things to do
Right.
as a golfer, just to make sure that your muscles stay loose and that that your body is in a good sort of functionality for what you do every day.
Right. So flexibility, you'd agree, flexibility is probably a bigger proponent of being a good golfer than say bulking up. I mean, obviously that's something that I think more of the men try to do, but weightlifting and things like that is not something that you see really is conducive for your game.
Yeah, no, and I think it changes for different golfers. You know, I know several of the girls that, you know, they work out at least probably three times a week when they're on the road. But that's not something that I've found that I like to do. It's like I said, I think it changes from golfer to golfer. But for me, I think it's just making sure that your body stays functional and that you're flexible.
Allie,
Right.
tell us what, again, this is called, the Golf Q, Q-U-E?
Yeah, it's Egoscue, E-G, so Egoscue and then Q-U-E.
Oh, okay.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Let's go back, if we can. Yeah, let's go back a little bit, Allie, if we can, to this past weekend. As I mentioned in the opening credits, of course, you played in this past week against the 2016 Chico's Patty Berg Memorial. And as you mentioned in round 3, you were alongside Nancy Lopez. First, I don't know if you'd ever had the opportunity to meet her before, but first impressions, and did you learn anything playing with her?
Yeah, I actually did get to meet her. Old Waverly, which is the golf course that I practice on, they hosted the Honda Cup last summer, I think it was. And so I was still at Mississippi State at that time, and we were able to go out and help on that Sunday. So I had the opportunity to meet Nancy and Julie Inkster, and I met Meg Mallon back at the Curtis Cup, her and Beth Daniels. So it was a really cool experience to get to meet them then, but playing alongside Nancy was really special. And, I mean, she just has a great spirit. I know she didn't play well when she played with me, but it was just awesome because regardless of what they shoot, it's such a cool experience to get to see them on the golf course and know that, you know, at 48 wins, I think it was for Nancy, just to be a part of a round with her is something very special.
Was there anything that you think you learned from her, though, specifically? Like, was there something watching her or just in her mannerisms as she navigated around the course was there things that you took away that you think, okay, that's something that I liked and I can see incorporating that in my game?
Yeah, well, I got to talk to her just a little bit, but watching her, like I said, she didn't play as well as she had wanted to, but to see her, I mean, she just had such a great spirit, even when she didn't feel like she was playing that well. I mean, she was still having fun. She was talking to us, and you know, I didn't play awesome on that day, but I fought back, and I think I shot like a 71 on that day, and there was one hole where I lipped out for birdie from like 6 feet, I think it was, and she looked at me and she said, you know, Allie, I've won 48 times on the LPGA, and she said, I've made pars and birdies and bogeys and everything in between. They'll come. And so that was just encouraging, you know, as someone who's had so much experience and is such a big part of the women's game. It was nice to hear her say that, even though at that time I was still frustrated that the ball didn't go in. But it was cool to hear her be supportive and everything.
Yeah, and you're right. There's so many great things that you can take away from a lot of the ladies from the Legends Tour, and we've got one here this morning, of course, Cindy Miller, who offers so much to everybody, and you know, Cindy, you've had an opportunity to play with a lot of these great legends, and I'm sure you can concur what Allie just said, that you know, even when they're not playing their best, they're just great ambassadors to the game.
Nancy is a class act, without a doubt. And funny because, you know, I was never a tour star, and I played with all these girls against them in college and stuff and on the tour, and I've always been an underdog. And when I finished playing in a Legends Tour event, I get in the cart or I walk back out and I watch these women to see what they do and how they handle situations. And I saw that the scores weren't very good, so I knew it was playing hard because these people can still play golf, but they're still
Right.
grateful and gracious for everything that we do and have, and it's just nice to see people with a good attitude even when they're getting beat up.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Fantastic. Allie, let me just ask you another question as far as your career is concerned. Obviously, first and foremost, you want to add some W's to the column with a bunch of wins. But if you fast forward down the road, do you have other aspirations? Do they include golf, or are there other areas of your life that you want to pursue when at some point when your career winds down? Do you want to stay in the golf industry, or are there other areas that you think you might lean towards?
I definitely want to stay around sports, whatever that is. But yeah, golf. I think golf has just been such a big part of my life. I don't know if I'm to the point now where I can say down the road I want to do this, because there's still so many things that I want to accomplish while I'm out here. But yeah, I think I kind of just look at things in a perspective of, the here and now. So, this year, my goal is just to get full status on the LPGA, whether that's top 10 on the Symetra tour, if I can, somehow jump over, because I have conditional status on the LPGA as well, or whether I can jump over there and get on the top 80 somehow. But that's the number one goal for now, is just to finish the year and get full status for next year. And then, next year we'll have a new goal. And obviously kind of a long-term goal would to be able to play on a Solheim Cup in the future. So that's probably the one big goal. I don't know if I can look so far ahead as to say what I would do when it's going to wind down, but those are definitely kind of the short-term aspirations for now.
And that's fantastic. Why golf? What was it about golf that attracted you to pursue this career? What was it? Was there something with experience growing up, maybe with your parents, or was it just watching some of the greats on TV? What was it about golf that attracted you?
Well, it's actually my mom worked at a night shift at a hospital whenever I was younger, so my dad took me to the golf course to get me out of the house so that my mom could sleep. But my family really, they weren't super into golf. They played some for fun. But one of my friends, his dad was the superintendent at our 9-hole golf course. And so he encouraged me to go get some lessons from who is still my swing coach now, Vijay Trolio. And so I went over to him, and I guess, started working with him, and I really didn't like the mechanics side of the game, trying to make sure my swing got better. But as time went on, I guess when it kind of hit me was when I was 16 and I made it to the semis of the U.S. Junior. I was like, wow, maybe I can do this. And then I went to college, and I think I played better than what I had originally thought I could. Obviously the goal was to be an All-American, but I didn't know that I could actually do, have 2 years of a first-team All-American and then one as an honorable or second team or honorable mention, whichever one it was. So I think I've just kind of, set goals and somewhat exceeded them. So it's just kind of like progressed through the years. I don't know that I ever looked at a moment and said, oh, this is what I should do. It's kind of just been a progression, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Did you get a degree?
I did. I graduated in a degree, or with a degree from Mississippi State. I finished all 4 years.
And what was your degree in?
It was in kinesiology.
Nice.
Very good.
So I could.
Well, Allie,
I hope I don't have to use that physical therapy as a backup plan, but I can go to physical therapy school if I need to.
Well, it gives you some great insight for yourself. If some injuries happen, and hopefully they won't, but you'll have a little bit of insight on how to handle that situation a little bit. It gives you a bit of a competitive advantage, I guess. Al, it's been great talking to you this morning, and I know when we set this up through Brett Lasky from the Symetra Tour, I know he had some very great things to say about you. He said that you know, one of the hottest rookies on the Symetra Tour this year, so he sees a lot of great potential in your game, and knows you're going to go on and do some great things, not only with the Symetra Tour, but onwards to the PGA. So best of luck, and I hope that you'll come back and talk with us again.
Sure, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on.
Thank you.
All right,
Good luck to you, honey.
Thank you. God bless y'all.
God bless
All right,
you.
thank you. All right,
Bye.
bye-bye. Great young lady. You know, here she is early on, you know, in her career, and just full of, you know, a lot of excitement and a lot of enthusiasm. That's one of the things I really like about some of these, you know, young ladies we have had the pleasure of interviewing, Cindy, is they've just got so much competitive fire, and just really very humble and very grateful for the opportunities that they're given, and very appreciative of many of the more seasoned veterans of the game, like a Nancy Lopez, and of course like yourself, who are now giving back to a game that's given them so much over the years. So just a joy to talk with a lot of young ladies. And speaking of young ladies, we've got another one lined up here, Nancy Quarcelino, of course. She is, in my opinion, one of the most respected teaching professionals and coaches in the business today. She's a member of the LPGA and PGA of America. And let me just tell you a little bit more about Nancy. With a career that spans over 30 years, she is said regarded as one of the premier golf instructors in the country. She's coached a wide range of golfers during her career, including amateur men and women of all abilities, competitive junior golfers, players on the LPGA Tour, the PGA Developmental Tours, LPGA and PGA club professionals, and as well as many collegiate golfers. She began golf at the age of 8 years old at the encouragement of her parents, who were both avid golfers. She played competitive golf as an amateur and proceeded to play collegiately at Western Kentucky University. And it was while working on her master's degree at Florida State University, which she also attended, she began her career in golf as an assistant coach for the women's golf team. So let's bring out Nancy and talk with her. And I've actually had the pleasure of interviewing Nancy on my other show, Golf Talk Live. So it's a great pleasure for me as well to have her back on.
Good morning, Nancy.
Good morning, Cindy, and you guys. It's awesome to talk to you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Nancy, and this is and I've had you on Golf Talk Live a number of times over the years, as well as a guest, and I know that you've always had some great insight into the game, and we're very honored to have you join us this morning.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to join you, and honored to talk golf all the time. Love it. And
that's one of the reasons why so many people in the industry admire what you do to the game, is your enthusiasm and your competitiveness, and the willingness to give back and to help so many of the struggling golfers out there. You do a great job at your business. And let's start off first, Cindy, I want to start off the junior aspect of things. You have a junior performance training program, Nancy, at your facility. Tell us a little bit about that.
I sure can. It's what we do is we're trying to develop young men and women to become players in the college aspect of life, but also to possibly just keep them going throughout their lives. You know, there's just a few golfers that are going to attain the status that Cindy and the rest of the people have to get to the pro life. And because of that, you know, I think that if we can just continue developing young lives that enjoy playing golf and they want to play in their business, and I think what's happening in this way is that we're helping to develop these kids to play in all divisions of college. It doesn't have to be Division I. They can be very successful in all the Division IIIs and IIs and everything, and just enjoy it. So our deal is to develop these young men and women by seeing them every week. And what we do is we're just developing their skills, from all of their skills to physical as well as mental, just to help them get ready for their tournament plays and their plays in high school, and really develop their college resume to try to get them to understand what it's going to take for them to get to what level that they want. What is it that you want? What level do you want to participate in? And then let's get you to that level. And we use a lot of different ways to encourage these kids and bring them on. And because of it, yes, they go to college. Yes, they may play on college teams. Yes, they may go to PGM programs and become – we have a lot that become professionals, just like myself and you guys that are just helping develop these they help other golfers develop. So there's so many aspects of golf that it just doesn't have to be, I'm going to go to the tour, but to get to that college level and play and enjoy it and know what they have to do to attain those levels, that's what we do. We just help guide them, and we help guide the parents as well, because the parents need as much development in this arena as the kids do. We even teach the parents how to stand on the sidelines and how to talk to their kids after they play. There's so many aspects of it that are just not developing, let's hit this ball farther and let's hit it straighter. You know, it's everything else that's going to take to develop them as players of the game for the rest of their lives. And that's what we're doing with the Junior Performance Training Program. It's a great program we started a few years ago, and we've really enjoyed it.
Well said, Nancy. And, you know, just to follow up on that, you're exactly right. You know, not everybody, as much as we would all love to be out and playing on the tour and competitive golf, there's a lot of people that come into golf that just want to do it for recreation and fun and just, you know, maybe as a business tool or whatever the case may be. And that's something, obviously, that you want to establish early on so that you're not, you know, moving somebody in a direction that maybe they're not really that interested in. They just want to come out and play the game and have fun at it. And obviously you have room at the Nancy Quarcelino School of Golf for that as well, correct?
That's correct, and that's what we're really developing is just players for life and wanting to keep them that way. We just had a LPGA Girls Golf Club last night. We had 12 little girls out there playing, and the parents were standing on the sidelines enjoying. They were taking pictures. But one family now has their 7-year-old in it, and their daughter is graduating high school right now, and she started in it. And we had a young lady that waited on us in a restaurant. I was in your girls' golf years ago, and I'm still loving playing golf. And you know what?
Wow.
It's just, we're hoping that we're developing these young men and women and just everybody that just loves the game. Let's just go out and play the game and enjoy it. And if you achieve a level that is the highest level of golf and playing on the professional tours, then that's awesome if that's what you want. But we also have, 5 kids right now in college that are developing to become a professional because they want to do what I do. And I'm going,
right.
I've helped develop that, and it's been pretty fun to think about that.
Well,
I hope
the other thing is, Dan, there's so many different things that you can do with the game of golf. I mean, we have a son. We have 3 beautiful children, and only one of them wanted to play. But our daughter, we kind of said, look, if you're going to be our kid, you have to know how to play. And our daughter plays once a year, but yet she's a producer at the Golf Channel. So it's not like you have to play golf for a living, but understanding the game and making a living somewhere in the industry, or just using a game as a relationship building tool, or just to have fun with your family, or as a business tool. It doesn't matter as long as you know how to play and you can enjoy it.
And that's exactly right. And what you have done, Cindy, to develop the business side of golf in this arena after playing the highest level is exactly what we need to help, even women that we teach that are new golfers, that are afraid to get out on the golf course, are afraid to, everybody else is going to play golf. Well, they need to too. They can get out there and do the same thing. Everybody just needs to know a few skills to become proficient at getting out there on the golf course and playing and know a few rules of etiquette and things like that, and then go out there and don't drive the cart around and get out there and participate. And that's what we're trying to do, is break that feeling of people being afraid, even men being afraid to go out there and show, hey, I may not be great, but I'm enjoying this game. And what is your level of great? I mean, that's the only thing that matters, is what is your level of greatness and what do you want to achieve. And if they can attach that level to their golf score, if you say, then all's good.
Absolutely.
Right. Well said. Nancy, I want to ask you, first, I hope you gave that young lady a great tip at the restaurant for that wonderful endorsement she gave you. You're exactly right. One of the things I wanted to ask you, Nancy, while I had you on here, first off, the growth in golf, the predominant growth in golf right now is in two areas. Number one is in women and obviously in juniors. What can we do as an industry to really run with that and get more women, not just out playing golf, but more women into the professional side, as what you're doing and what Cindy's doing now as well? I mean, obviously we want to encourage them just to go out and have fun and play the game, but how can we encourage more women to sort of take the hat that you have, that you're wearing, and get them to teach? What can we do to expose more women to that?
I think that it's seeing us out there with other women. That helps, for one. I think that it's going to the businesses and going to women just that we know, my hairdresser, anybody that I speak at restaurants, any women that, I've wanted to play, and encourage them to get out there and do, but get in front of groups of people. We try to get in front of groups of the Executive Women's or the National Women's Business Association. Anything that we can get in front of to these groups and to organizations and companies. The people that are coming that are on our lesson tee right now are business people, and they know other business people. And I think that if you have the programs that you're helping develop these people, then they see it. For instance, years ago when we first started our school, Rita Reasons, who is an LPGA teaching professional, is also the co-owner of our school. She started out at the business level. She was a banker, okay, and so she went to the Sara Lee Classic, where I was the head pro at, and she came and became a marshal because of the business. She didn't play golf. And she looked at these golfers, and she was just out there watching them and says, no, I don't want to be here. I want to be inside the ropes. So she went and became a scorer, because then she could walk inside the ropes with Cindy and the other ladies that were playing here at Hermitage Golf Course at that year. And so all of a sudden she said, you know what, this is my home course. I'm going to call my home course, and I'm going to find a professional. And she knew me, and she took lessons. She and her husband took lessons from me. And then all of a sudden I said, you know what, you're pretty good at this. You need to develop this. Well, so what she did was she did become a professional, and she became a teacher of the year, a national teacher of the year. But what she did was she called golf courses, and she found out what they had or what they didn't have. And at that time, nobody did what we did. There wasn't that many teachers. I was a head professional and a teacher, so I was running around doing all the tournaments and running the Sara Lee Classic, and I taught maybe 10 hours a week. Well, when I decided to teach full-time and bring Rita on, we decided to go out there and find out what was happening in the industry. And to this day, it's getting better. People have programs. But if you don't have a program that somebody can look at your website and say, that's for me, I want to do that. Everybody's on the Internet now. And if you're not present on that Internet with your programs and with YouTube and with Facebook and Twitter and everything, if you're not present on there, you're missing a good deal of amount of business that's out there. So We did this early on, started it early on, and started attacking those groups, aggressively because nobody else did it. Now everybody's trying to get in there and do, but yet I'm established with it. It's fun to do. I'm enjoying it. I don't care if I've got a 7-year-old. I don't care if I've got a 78-year-old. It doesn't matter as long as they're enjoying playing golf. And if I can get in front of those groups and I can talk to that young lady that waited on us at the restaurant and said, let's get you back into playing. Come on, your dad is Southwest Greens. Come on, get back on the, get back out there and play. Come on, we got to get you out. She goes, I'm going to. I can't wait. It's so good to see you again. And then the guy next to me said, oh, you're in the newspaper every week. I read your column every week. And then somebody in back said, oh, yeah, I know who you are. And then all of a sudden, you're just putting a seed, you're planting a seed, and they're saying, you know what, I need to get back into golf. I need to get into that game. It sounds like fun. And, that's what we're trying to do is just have some fun with people, and hopefully, they're going to go out and spend money at the golf courses and buy clubs and go take lessons and go play golf and play with their businesses. You got to get in front of people, and you got to be not be afraid to say that golf's not real easy, but yet here we can make it a little easier to help you.
Well, and make it fun. The key word is fun, really. And I think if they're enjoying it, whether they're a 5 handicap or a 25 handicap, if they're out having fun, they're enjoying themselves. Nancy, you raise an interesting point about social media, Facebook and Twitter and some of the other, YouTube and so forth, and obviously having a website presence. You're exactly right. I mean, with today's social media options out there, there's really no excuse because most of them are free services that you can use and do some great marketing. And if you're creative enough and a sort of a go-getter, you can attract a very large audience very quickly and get in front of many, many thousands, if not more, even millions in some cases, depending on how aggressive you want to be, through free advertising is essentially really what it is.
That's correct. Yeah, you're exactly right. And, I gave a talk at the Tennessee PGA meeting years ago about, Facebook and Twitter. Those were the two big ones, and LinkedIn at that time. And I gave a talk about social media, and everybody was going, God, that takes so much time. I said, no, it doesn't. I mean, it's just, take a picture and live video now and go out there and do it. And people are watching. People are listening, and they're hungry to hear any word, any positive word. Who wants to hear somebody, gripe about their business or what they do? We want to hear positive, and we want to be positive. And I'm trying to do the best I can to be as positive I can to the golfers that are out there and the people that come, to see us. And if we're not smiling, if we're not having fun, if we're not hugging those little kids out there going, you did great, look at that shot, look at my shoes. They don't, it doesn't matter to them. They just want to contact the golf ball, and the parents are going, well, let's get it up in the air. I said, well, let's just hit the golf ball. Let's just have some fun and enjoy. And we just got to create positive things that are happening. There's so much negative in this world. Golf is, it's fun, and golf is something you can do for a long, long time. And I've been doing it for a long time. Cindy's been doing it. You've been doing it. It's, it's just, and I'm not going to quit. I'm going to keep going and keep going.
Well, we're glad you aren't going to quit.
Yeah, that's
that's Cindy, you're the Energizer Bunny. I want to be like you.
It's funny you mentioned that. Nancy, I've said on the show, about Cindy Miller. Cindy Miller is really epitomizes what a professional should be. I mean, she's very giving of her time and of her energy, and much like yourself, wants to help others be able to reach their goals and their dreams, and even if they don't make it to the LPGA tour, they can go out and have fun with the skills and the tools she has given, and same for you. The other thing that I want to ask both of you, and Cindy, I'm going to let you also respond on this as well, because from a women's perspective, there's still a little bit of intimidation out there for a lot of women. They're afraid of looking maybe foolish out in the golf course because they maybe haven't been exposed to it as long as some men have. What do we do to try to alleviate and make it a little bit more comfortable for them? What are some things that you're doing, both of you, and what are some things that maybe the industry could do to make it a little bit more women-friendly at some of the golf courses? And
wow.
Nancy, I'll let you go.
You know what, Ted? I mean, we're talking still that there's this feeling that people think that that they have to be a certain handicap to go out and play. And what I do is I take the women out and the new golfers out, and I take them right to the first tee, and I have them watch 2 or 3 groups. We just may stand and talk about tee box and talk about this, and then let's watch these people. And all of a sudden you see out of 4 people, one hit it left, one hit it right, one top it. And they pull out another golf ball and they start hitting it. And they go, well, I can do that. And so they're sitting there watch. They have this vision that you have to, that we see on TV of these people that play so well. But then,
right.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I felt for Jordan Spieth, but, people saw him hit 2 golf balls in the water and they went, you know what? Sometimes they miss shots. Sometimes they 6-putt. And sometimes they 4-putt. And sometimes they hit the ball in the water. They don't hit it perfectly every single time. And so we take them out there and show them that, watch these people, move around and do, and they're just having fun, and they don't care. They're going to go look for it and go hit it again. And I think that we just have to teach them, that it doesn't have to be perfect. That you don't. Now, okay, you can look the way you want to look. You get the clubs, get the clothes, whatever you want to do, but you realize that if you just know a few skills and that how to at least advance the ball somewhere down the fairway, you can have a lot of fun. And that's what we do. We let them watch the real golfers, not the ones on TV, but yet even those on TV struggle.
Right. And obviously for editing purposes, I mean, the Golf Channel and others, they're in ESPN, what have you. They're not going to focus on all of the negative aspects or the bad shots, if you will. They want people to be tuning in. So they're going to show, for the most part, all these great shots that get pulled off. You're exactly right. Cindy, I know that you do a lot of things. You work with juniors, you work with women, you work with men, you work from all spectrum. What are some things that you try to do as well out there to just really, reduce that intimidation factor, especially for a lot of women out there?
Well, again, you just have to help them feel comfortable. And I think it all goes back to expectations as well. Like Nancy said, sometimes these people think they have to hit it perfect. And if they just sit and watch others blow it, they're like, oh, well, that's okay. I can do that too. And sometimes it's just, take a half swing, use a tee in the middle of the fairway, and bunt it down the hole. And if you show them that that's okay, then they say, oh, well, I want to play, and then they want to have fun as well.
I love it. I love having people put tees in the ground and go out. Was that not against the rules? I said, do you have a handicap? Have you signed up for USGA handicap? No. I said, then you can do whatever you want to. What we want you to do is to play well, or play fun, go out there, play as fast. Make sure you keep up with that group in front of you. But, who cares? And, I go with Dr. Betsy Clark taught me this game years ago to teach, and we still teach it to the women. It's called par stroke scoring. If it's a par 3, you got 3 shots to get to the green. And if you don't make it to the green, you pick it up and go to the green, and you got 3 shots to get it in. You get the drift. If it's par 4, it's 4 shots and 4 to the green. And all of a sudden they can go, oh, well, hey, I got a real score. I didn't have to pick my ball up, and all of a sudden they start learning, how to really keep up with people and enjoy. And sometimes I'll time a foursome just to show them, hey, look, it took you 33 minutes to play that first hole, the new golfers. I said, now, let's play this next hole in the time that you're supposed to, you know. So I start getting them out there and start directing them, and they start to understand, you know, but if I do this, if I just hit these 3 shots and then go put it in a bunker and take 3 shots to try to get it out, you may surprise yourself and get it out and enjoy. But make it fun, you know, make them laugh, make it fun. I love using tees in the fairway. I love getting, you know, people just watching real golf out there and saying, you know, I could do that. I could have fun with that.
Yeah, I agree, and you're right. I think whatever works for you to enhance the enjoyment of the game, and then over time as you develop, you know, a little bit more skill, then you know you can adjust accordingly. But I think you're right. I think you have to make it pleasurable experience for anybody. I think something else, ladies, that is I think going to be the fast track here is family golf. A lot of women, I've heard them say, you know, I just want to be able to play well if I play with my husband, you know, maybe when we go on a trip or something. A lot of them get the kids involved, and I think, you know, developing junior golf just to be competitive, just to you know, just to go out and enjoy the game and fun at it. I think that will also attract a lot of more women to golf as well, because they want to do things with their kids and they want to be able to go out and have fun and ultimately bring that family unit together and do things that they can all do. And what a great way to maybe spend an afternoon or a morning is out on the golf course as a family.
Well, I just Sunday, we opened up a second location here in Nashville at a golf course, and it's Pine Creek Golf Course in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. And we were out there and we did a little junior club fitting with U.S. kids. And all of a sudden, here's this mom come with 4 kids, and the dad was out of town, and they bought clubs. And they're all taking lessons, and you know, she says, well, you know, we got a little bit of a adjustment because we have to have 2 tee times. I said, yes, you do. You got a few kids, so you know, but they're doing it. They're doing it together. They're enjoying it. They're all going to get together and play. And you know what? You know, Ted, really, and Cindy and I know this, but you know, it's really the women that control the purse strings and the money that is spent out on, you know, with the families. And when we know that, when you can attack and go after and market the women and the mothers that are trying to get the kids into doing something very positive in their life, then golf becomes that. Yes, it's an expense for clubs as they grow up and as they do. But she's got a ready-made family. They're all right-handed. One's going to grow into the next set as they go. And that's good too. But then all of a sudden she finds out that this is really a positive place for families to be. You know, we have families that bring their kids out and let them play or hit golf balls, and they're coming right down to our lesson tee, near our lesson tee, and the families know we're going to keep an eye out on them, that we're going to watch them and make sure that everything's okay. And it's a safe place. It really is a safe place for families to be. And I think that's why it's still a great game. It's still going to be a great game for a long, long time. I don't care how many holes they end up making golf. I don't care how big the holes they make them. It doesn't matter. Golf is still going to be safe. It's going to be fun, and it's going to be something we can do for the rest of our lives. Well said.
Great way to end the segment. And Nancy, Cindy and I want to thank you for joining us. Unfortunately, we're out of time, but we want to give you just a quick moment just to let the folks know how they can get in touch with you through social media and your website, and where you're headed out in Tennessee.
No problem. My Twitter is @QSchool. I've had that forever because my last name starts with a Q, so I've had @QSchool for a long, long time. Facebook, you can get me on Nancy Quarcelino or the golf school, Nancy Quarcelino School of Golf. My website is qsog.com, and you need to know this. Next Monday, we are relocating our golf school to Gaylord Springs Golf Links, and that's the Opryland Hotel family of golf. And so we're getting ready to relocate next week. It's going to happen right in the mid-season, but they asked us to come, and it's going to be Gaylord Springs Golf Links. That's going to be all on our website. It's going out in a newsletter today. It's splashing out all over Facebook and Twitter and everywhere today. So we can't wait to start next week with that. So it'll be fun. So I hope that everybody can come visit me in Nashville, Tennessee.
Well,
thank you so much, Nancy.
Thank you.
Yeah, what a great.
Ted, thank you. Appreciate you all having me on, and let's do it again.
We definitely will. Thank you, Nancy. Much continued success and good luck with all of your future endeavors. I know that you're a great asset to the game, and we continue to wish you much success, and we would love to have you come back on again.
I'll do it. Thank you very much.
All right. Bye-bye. All right. That was our very special guest, Nancy Quarcelino. We're out of time. On behalf of Cindy Miller and I, we want to thank everybody for joining us this morning on the Women of Golf Show. Remember to tune in next Tuesday from 9 to 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time here on blogtalkradio.com, Women of Golf Show. Cindy, thank you again, as always, for all that you do. Keep up the great work, and just, you can't ask for a way to spend a Tuesday morning than with my good friend Cindy Miller. So come back and join us next Tuesday on the Women of Golf Show. Thanks, everybody, and God bless. Thanks, Cindy.
Thanks, Ted. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.